The number one thing that people do not realize is that when it comes to business, it's like people think that business is a numbers game, which it is. You know, when you're starting a business, it's good to focus on the financial aspect of it. It's good to it's good to focus on the amount of sales, clients you're getting, whatever. But the number one thing that people overlook in business, and that I've personally overlooked, is it really comes down to this one thing. And it's really a mindset game. It's a mindset game. Like, look at any business and put the numbers aside, put the numbers aside. Like, don't even think about money for a moment. Don't even think about sales, clients, whatever. Like, don't think about that. Think about your level of stress tolerance and your mindset when it comes to handling certain things. We put certain time frames on things, like, oh, I gotta meet this deadline by this day. Oh, I gotta, reach out to X amount of clients. I gotta collect leads or get X amount of sales or be profitable. But it comes down to your level of stress tolerance and your ability to handle, um, rejection. Also, your ability to handle, your ability to be consistent, your ability to handle any setbacks or something like that. And, the past year or so, I've basically noticed that, in my attempts at, anything business wise, it's really a mindset thing. Um, it has nothing to do with how intelligent you are. It has nothing to do even with, how, luck. That's all. Yeah, it's all a factor. Your knowledge, your resources, the help you have, the amount of money you have, that's all a factor. But it really comes down to, even if a person started from zero, let's say they had zero help, zero finances, they could actually manage to see success with just their mindset alone. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you know there's people that come from different countries, they come to America, but if they have the mindset, they succeed very quickly. And and with the right mindset, you could really succeed anywhere. You could succeed in any environment, any circumstance, whatever. Cuz your mindset, your ability to handle stress, that's the most important when it comes to business. It's like, even the amount of work you do is important. Yeah, you got to work hard on whatever you're doing, but just being consistent alone, that's a mindset thing. It's not even about how hard you work, because you could work really hard and then burn out. But see, when you learn to strengthen your mindset, to balance your mindset, you can remain consistent each and every day, no matter what. Remaining consistent, that's a mindset thing, and just putting in the necessary steps. Nothing crazy. You don't have to overdo things. Just putting in the necessary steps every single day, that can get you to the next level. That can get you to the success you're trying to reach. It's purely a mindset thing. Even if you're doing YouTube, I feel like yeah, if you post videos, some people, they get views immediately, and some people they don't get any views for like fuck years. And it's like it's the thing about your mindset and how, okay, even if I don't get any views for X amount of time, like am I still gonna be posting? That requires a strong mindset to keep going, you know? To just keep going, putting in the reps every day on whatever it is you're doing. That's a mindset thing. And that can be stressful, that can that ties into your ability to handle stress, stress tolerance. And I think it's with anything in life. The higher your stress tolerance, the I feel actually the better life you can have, truly. Your stress tolerance and your ability to handle, stress, rejection, staying consistent. Because think of like a business, it's like psychological warfare, society's gonna tell you, you gotta do XYZ, you gotta do what we say. You go to school, they tell you, hey, you have to do what we say. You have to do the assignment, or else you fail, you're not gonna pass. They condition you to think that way, and that's what school is. It's psychological warfare. When you go to school, they train you to wanna fit into to obey. You have to do it this way, only this way. You have to show up at this time. You know, you can't talk to this person. You have to, listen to the teacher, raise your hand, all this shit. And it can affect people in adulthood when, say, if they're starting a business, they think that, oh, I gotta listen to so and so, I gotta take their advice, or family, or whoever. You know, when business is it's a psychological thing. It's psychological. You have to psychologically, in a sense, battle any doubt, any resistance, rejection, whatever. You have to battle that, and you gotta say no to that. you know People or forces outside of yourself will tell you that you can't do something. However, you have to train your mind to handle that stress while you're working on something, while you're pursuing your goals. You have to constantly reject that. You have to reject any naysayers or negativity. Also, impulse control. You have to control impulses. That is big. And if people are mentally strong, they can succeed in business or really anything. If they're mentally strong, they can handle anything and get through anything, achieve anything. And yeah, another thing is that is business is intuitive. It's very intuitive. Cause what works for one person is not always gonna work for me. If one person makes a certain style of videos, doesn't mean it's gonna work for me. You know? That's why in business you gotta trust your intuition, trust your gut when working on something, because so many people try to lead you in one direction. Oh, you have to do it this way. It has to be done this way. This is how this works. You have to you're not going to blow up if you make that type of video. You're not going to get sales if you market your product this way. But really it's an intuitive thing. You got to follow your intuition and know what's right for you, what's going to work for you in pursuit of whatever it is you're doing. You have to trust your gut, follow your intuition. Say no to any impulses to give up, give into doubt. You gotta really You gotta listen to it, observe it, but you can't give into it, and that's the thing with business or really anything in life, just to keep going. Even though the 3D, the reality is showing you one thing, it's just to keep going, to keep going, and to never give in to the doubt, stress, or any setback, failures, to not give into that. And this can really be applied to anything. This can be applied to relationships. This could be applied to work, like building good habits, anything, is being mentally strong. It's a mental game. It's like a psychological game. That's what business really is. It's a psychological game. And that's why most people don't have a business or whatever, because it's the thing is, most people would choose to do what's easy or simple. It's easy to just follow what someone else is doing or saying. It's easy if you go to work and everything's laid out for you. Come in and do this thing every single day, blah blah blah. Do that shit every day and you get paid. It's easy to do that, but it's hard to follow your intuition. Like, most people don't trust themselves. It's hard to follow their intuition to know that, okay, if this is good for me, I'm going to keep doing it. Even though I don't see results in it right now, I'm just going to keep doing it because this is what's best and this is going to get me the desired result. It's psychological. It's spiritual in a sense, where you have to trust your intuition and tap into that, to your higher self, to know what's gonna work for you. And and yeah, so this is something that I don't hear many people talk about, how business is really a psychological game. It's not a numbers game. It's not. Business is not. It is, but it's a psychological game first. Put the numbers aside. Your mindset is what's gonna get you where you gotta go. Cause see, personally, I was so focused on numbers. Oh, I just want X amount of money. If I just do this thing X amount of times and yada yada. But I have to strengthen my mindset to see that, okay, well, I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep going, even if it's X amount of views or whatever, you know. I'm just gonna keep putting in those reps. I'm gonna keep listening to my intuition, trust my inner guidance to lead me to the result that I need to go to. And yeah, business is a psychological game before any numbers are even involved. And yeah, tell me what you think in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to hear more from me. Peace.